So first up, we're heading to the Maldives, and there are a few waves in the Maldives that come under threat via construction projects, which is really unfortunate considering the Maldives is one of the most pristine and perfect surf destinations on earth. So today we're focusing on Chickens, which is one of the best waves in the whole island chain. On its day, it's a perfect left-hander with sections for barrels, sections for turns. It's a really, really sick wave. It's also one of the most accessible, but unfortunately the wave is already being altered by construction of the seawall on the island, which, you know, it's already affecting the end of the wave. I've never actually surfed the wave myself, so if you've surfed it, you know, before the construction of the wall and after, please let me know if it is actually affecting it already. So Save the Waves and the national government are looking to save Chickens and some of the other waves around the Maldives that are coming under threat from similar projects. So while Chickens is already being affected by this project, it's not too late to save some of the other waves around the island. So I'll leave the link in the description where you can sign up to the petition. I always think with petitions, it seems like your signature is so insignificant, but it really does make a difference. Next up, we're heading to Mexico. Now, Punta Conejo is part of the Salina Cruz region, which is world famous for its perfect right-hand point breaks. In the region, you've got a series of 5 different world-class right-handers, all incredible waves on the right day. Punta Conejo is the first of these point breaks and is sand bottom. It's a perfect right. It's got sections for tubes, sections for turns. It's just everything you think about when it comes to southern Mexican surfing. Unfortunately, the proposed industrial port expansion in Salina Cruz poses a direct threat to the waves. So the proposed construction of the port will mean that the wave is basically buried and completely destroyed. Now, not only will this destroy Punta Conejo, it will destroy the marine ecosystem in the area, as well as potentially affecting some of the other waves. Now, the seabed and the marine ecosystem in the area is really susceptible to change, so any tiny disruption in this can potentially threaten not just Punta Conejo, but the whole marine environment and some of the other waves in the area. Now, this is a really tricky one because Punta Conejo and Salina Cruz is actually privatized, and you're not actually allowed to surf any of these waves unless you're staying at the camps. Now, I'm all for saving waves, but a lot harder to get motivated to save someone's wave that you're not allowed to surf yourself unless you pay thousands of dollars to stay at the camp. So it's a tricky one. I've actually tried to surf Punta Conejo off my own accord and was basically told off. So yeah, wave privatization is definitely something I don't agree with, but nonetheless, I still think it's a wave that we should be saved. So again, like the Chickens petition, I'll leave the link to Save the Waves and their petition down in the description. Next up, we've got Coro in Fuerteventura. So Fuerteventura is one of the most popular holiday destinations for European surfers. You know, it's got perfect waves, a lot more sun than the rest of Europe. Yeah, loads of powerful reef breaks, loads of different waves. It's super, super popular. Unfortunately, the planned harbour expansion in Coro is going to have a direct impact on some world-class waves. Now, in this area, there's multiple different waves. You've got Rocky Point, Harbour Left, Los Lobos just across the channel. And if this harbour port gets expanded to the length that is proposed, could destroy all of these waves, which would be such a huge shame and such a huge loss, not just to Fuerteventura, but to the whole global surfing community. So the 32 million euro project will look to extend the harbour hundreds of meters past where it lies now, and this is going to cut off the swell, change the ocean currents, and basically disrupt the whole surfing environment here, which Fuerteventura relies upon heavily. Now, this is a tricky one because despite its popularity, Fuerteventura is somewhere that comes with a lot of localism as well, and I've had my share of localism there, but then when the waves come under threat and everyone calls on the international surfing community to then promote the spots, the attitude changes so quickly from being hostile, like to, come on, let's save the waves, which is all good and I'm all behind, but you know, there's both sides to it. Next, we're heading to Iceland. Now, this is one of the most recently threatened waves, and construction has already started on this project. So this is one that, you know, is pretty drastic, and I don't know how to pronounce the name fully, but the wave known as Thorley is the cornerstone of the Icelandic surfing community. It's the most famous and most frequently surfed wave on the island, and without it, the surf community in Iceland kind of falls away. I know there's lots of other waves there, but this is like the go-to spot, kind of on the Reykjanes Peninsula, close to Reykjavik. You know, this is the go-to spot, and at the moment it's under threat So the reason the wave here is under threat is that the government want to basically extend the port by dropping a load more stones onto the end of the harbour wall. As you can see here in the photos, what this would mean is that these stones here would disrupt the end section of the wave and potentially ruin all of it. And what's so annoying about this case is that they could just do this at a different part of the beach or a different section of the jetty where it wouldn't affect the wave, because this can easily be done somewhere else. Really don't need a load of rocks just poured straight into the end section of the wave. So I just want to interrupt this video to let you know about a really cool brand I've started working with called HOSA. Now HOSA makes some really cool surf products at basically a fraction of the price of what you pay for some of the other top surf brands. I've tried out a few of their products recently and it's been really cool. It's been really cool to work with a brand who, you know, is looking to make good but affordable surf stuff to help people like me and you just go surfing. I've been trying out their 5mm wetsuit here at home. I've had some really fun waves here at home, so the 5mm has been keeping me nice and toasty, and I'm about to go traveling for the rest of the year and put all of the other stuff through its paces, so keep an eye out for that. I'll leave a link down in the description where you can check it out, but for now, let's crack on with the video. So next up, we're heading back to Mexico to Puerto Escondido. Now, Puerto Escondido is one of the most famous and sought after stretches of sand in the world. Playa Zicatela is home to one of the best beach breaks on earth. Perfect barrels, perfect sandbanks. At the southern end, you've got Point Break, you've got other waves in the area. It's just like a world-class, world-renowned surfing destination, but unfortunately, it's under threat. And now this is for a variety of different reasons. Just to the north, sewage output at Colorado threatens to spread and to damage some of the marine ecosystems in and around the Puerto Escondido environment, threatening both the wildlife, marine ecosystems, and the waves. Also to the south at Zicatela, a potential expansion of the port poses a huge threat to the waves that made the place so famous. So yeah, it seems such a sad loss to just to extend the port for a few more boats or for whatever freaking reason they do it. Last but certainly not least, we've got Chopu in Tahiti. Now this is the most recent and most famous case of potential surf break destruction and most drastic. You know, the Olympic Committee building a brand new judging tower on the reef at Chopu threatens the whole marine ecosystem and potentially the wave that does so much for the surfing world, the local community of Tahiti.
What you see is the exact place where they want to build the tower. For me, it seems impossible to build 12 new foundations without destroying the reef.
Je peux affirmer avec certitude que creuser 56 trous supplémentaires représente un risque considérable pour le platier.
So yeah, any more information about this, please let me know, because if this is something we can still stop as a global surf community, I'd love to find out what I can do to actually help it. So another wave to add to the list that has most recently come under threat is Playa HOSA in Costa Rica. Now, this is the notorious black sand beach known for its thumping, beachy barrels. It's a really, really sick wave on its day. I've surfed it a few times a couple of years ago. So I actually read about this story on Stab, literally whilst I was editing this video, so I thought I'd add it into the list. So what's happening here is that the stretch of coast behind the beach is being developed, and as is the case with a lot of waves going extinct, the development is going to threaten the waves directly. So the land at the back of the beach, where traditionally rivers will run out onto the beach to sort of shape the banks, are going to be dried up and get built on top of. And what this will mean is that there's no water flowing out to shape the sand into the sandbanks that make the waves so good. Like Stab have written here, when you get these long, really exposed beach breaks and long period combined with long period swell, it often just turns into a huge closeout. So yeah, you can read more about this story over on Stab, and I'll share the link where you can sign up to the petition as well, because this is an incredible wave. It's one of the best waves in Costa Rica. It's a really, really sick wave, so it's definitely something we've got to protect and preserve. So yeah, that kind of concludes our video today. I know it's quite a sad, emotional video almost, that these waves are potentially going to disappear, and from past experiences, this has happened to a lot of other breaks around the world, and it's really, really sad. So I think, you know, a lot of these surf breaks are cornerstones of surf communities around the world. They do a lot for local people. They create jobs, they bring money. So when that comes under threat as a global surf community, the only thing we can do is kind of pull together, make the relevant parties aware of what this means to local communities, the wider surfing world, and the potentially devastating impact it can have on these communities. I'll leave the links in the description where you can find out more information on all of these petitions and what's really going on behind each of these projects. For now, it's goodbye from me, and I'll see you in the next episode.